Scott, it's our first opportunity to talk about Whitworth men's golf for the 25-26 school year. It's a new look. After a couple of years in a row of familiar faces and familiar names, it's a very new look for this year's team. Talk about how things have come together so far in the first fall tournaments.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely a new look. We had a very upperclassman dominant roster the last couple of years. Although we had about half our guys were first years last year, a lot of the lineup was made up of 4th, 5th, and 6th year guys. So even with the returning players, it's very much of a new look in terms of who's making up our lineup. The one returning staple is Matthew Durkin, who's off to a really crazy hot start through his first 3 events and first 6 rounds. I believe probably still a scoring average of under par, which is pretty remarkable, especially considering we've played in quite different locations, being in Minnesota, home here at Indian Canyon in some late summer, early fall rain, and then over on the west side where we experienced a little bit of rain and some cold as well. And then the rest of the guys, a few guys that were on campus last year but were dealing with some injury, and then a couple first-year guys new to Whitworth. And I'm really pleased with our play so far. I would say, to win a golf tournament or to be in contention, you have to play all 36 holes at a pretty high level as a group. And so far we're kind of a 27-hole team, which for me, early in the season with a younger, kind of newer roster, I've been thrilled at that because I feel like that's something that can be fixed and can evolve. And with tournament experience comes that ability to finish strong and to play all 36 holes with the same freedom of thought and confidence that the first 27 are played with. So to this point, I've just been very thrilled with our success and our growth and the confidence and the variations of guys in the lineup, and their contributions and stuff have been fantastic.
How much can the play of Matthew rub off on the other guys when they see the way he's been able to grind through and stay consistent throughout each of his rounds?
Sure. He has such a profound effect on the guys, just the way he carries himself and his positive attitude and his commitment to his process, and then so they see that all week long, and really since they got to know each other. Once kind of the recruiting class and incoming class was set, he took on a leadership role and started communicating with the guys, and then he's always had successful summers, so that ability to just see that consistent play and scores, and then he's really embraced the role as a leader, and some with words and a lot with just encouragement, and also just with his work ethic and results. And he's been very inspiring to those guys, and there's a level of friendship but also a level of respect that you can see is kind of running through the program in terms of the younger guys. And they've been asking questions, and he's been sharing some of his nuggets of wisdom on how he handles certain situations or certain shots to hit or different ways to play holes. And I would say so far it's been kind of a masterclass in terms of his mentorship and leadership towards some guys that don't have as much college golf experience.
You're going to turn your attention to a pretty important tournament coming up this weekend, the Fall Classic for the Northwest Conference, and it's going to count as 1/3 of the final tally. So key to get off to a good start for the rest of the year. What do we know about the course in Lake Oswego, and how does it kind of play into our style of play?
Sure. Yeah, very important event, and I'd like to point out that the conference is absolutely loaded. Even Pacific University in our conference they've had some really good individual players over the years, but haven't had like a ton of team success, and they just hosted this weekend, which was an off week for us, in Oregon at their home course, and they shot a school record on the first day for a 18-hole round. So the level of competition and the level of quality in the conference is just extremely impressive. And so it's one of those situations where you could shoot really good and still get 4th, 5th, 6th place just simply because other teams are also playing well, which is a great problem to have as a conference. And I think that the course sets up to our game quite well. It's not someone could get hot and shoot low rounds, but it isn't the kind of course that you'd expect just a ton of birdies and under par rounds, although that is possible, and it's relative to the weather, especially in Oregon in the fall. But kind of tight, lush, perfect, pure, just requirement of some testy tee shots, which oftentimes is where a lot of college golfers struggle, is just the confidence to hit a straight ball off a tee when there's a lot of trouble on both sides, and then some protected greens. And it's kind of your traditional country club that's kept up in a very pure way, and the difference and the X factor could be if any weather conditions, and we tee off both days quite early in the morning, so it could be, that high 30s, low 40s with some mist and some dew on the ground, and part of that is just fighting the elements, but the course itself is beautiful and should be a great test. I'd like to think that we'll be up for the challenge, and we're going to get a few practices in this week that emulate similar conditions, and one of those is just simply playing our home course here at the Kalispell Club, where a lot of the tree line fairways where you have to work the ball right to left and left to right and keep it below the hole a few places. So it should be a good way to prepare for what will be a very strong field and a really challenging golf course.